Now, I'm not a gun aficionado, so I'm going to need your help. I've been thinking about this for a couple of days. I mean, I'm not the expert on guns like so many of my listeners are, so that's why I need you to weigh in. So basically 100 people shot, right? 50 dead, 50 wounded, including the killer, so I guess 49 dead, over 50 wounded. And then I would assume some of the shots he took, he missed, right? So in this period of time where he was executing people in the bar, here's what I was thinking about. Like, how many rounds did this guy get off? And if it was not an automatic weapon, it was a semi-automatic, and like Dennis saying, no different than a regular rifle, I just don't have the knowledge to even comment on this. That's why I need somebody to call up and explain it. But what I was thinking about is, how do you get off all those rounds? Right? I mean, if 100 people are shot, and some he had to miss, right? So what do you get off, 120, 130, 150 rounds? And then I'm thinking, he's getting off all these rounds, got to be 150. Right? So you got to reload, right? So how many times did he have to reload? Because he only had one rifle. Now, he had a handgun, but you can't shoot a handgun and reload at the same time. And then while he was reloading, wouldn't he be vulnerable to just somebody like jumping on his back? That's what I can't figure out. I mean, he's got to reload this gun, right? I mean, you got to stop and reload. I'm just asking the question. And there were all these people in there. Why wouldn't somebody just, the bouncers, and why wouldn't they just tackle the guy from behind? Like, from behind, because he's reloading his weapon. This doesn't make any sense to me. But maybe it's because I don't know. Let's go to Randy in Chesapeake. Randy, thanks for dialing in.
Hey, John. Randy calling from Chesapeake. Yeah, I'm a Navy-trained firearms expert, security force platoon leader. And, he could have done it with 5 30-round mags on an AR-15.
So one of our...
You just fire your 30 rounds, drop the mag, put another one in a matter of 1 or 2 seconds, and you're off and running again.
So basically, he could have gotten off 150 rounds. Now, Dent from Chesapeake was saying that the AR-15 is not capable of automatic firing. Is that true or not?
That's correct. If an AR-15 were modified for automatic fire, it would be very illegal in this country to hold. You'd need I believe it's called a Class C license to have one of those. And you haven't been able to purchase a new, they've been banned for years. Automatic weapons in this country have been banned for years. I don't even believe they can manufacture them for the general public anymore. You could still get one, but they're highly regulated. And, you just can't get your hands on one.
So then, Randy, why does the media keep calling this an automatic weapon?
Because that's their narrative. If they want them banned. They want the high-capacity magazines banned. In fact, they consider a 7-round bottom-fed mag on like a Glock, a military type assault weapon. If you really look at and dig into what they're talking about, that's what they're saying. They want all that stuff banned. So if you're carrying around a little, like I have a 32 Beretta from 1959 that I carry, or 1957 that I carry around, it carries 6 rounds and 1 in the chamber. They consider that a military type assault weapon because you can drop the mag, speed reload, and put another mag in from the bottom.
All right,
so if it's not a revolver, a wheel gun type thing, or a pump shotgun, or a lever action or bolt action rifle, they want it out of here.
Because it has the ability to, though it's not an automatic weapon, you're saying, Randy, it has the ability to quickly fire round after round.
Precisely. You don't have to cock, with a lever or a bolt or pull a hammer back between each round that you fire. That's the problem they have with it.
So, Randy from Chesapeake...
by their definition, they spin the definition from semi-automatic to automatic. And you know as well as I do, John, the media on they're liberal and they're ignorant to this type of thing. So they get their talking points from their producers and they hit the bricks running.
Right. So this was the assault weapon that the Islamic Muslim radical terrorist, the ISIS fighter, utilized to execute these 49 Americans, wound many more. This was not an automatic weapon. This was a semi-automatic.
That's to my knowledge, yes, that is correct. It's a semi-automatic weapon, unless he was carrying the Class C firearms license that allowed him, and he paid the extra tax and everything on some automatic weapon that was built back before 1982 or whenever they banned them.
Well, I would think if he had that would have been all over the media. So, Randy, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, trying to figure this out. I was thinking about this yesterday. So it takes him 1001, 1002, 1003 to reload this magazine. I mean, just walk me through the time here.
Well, I could put out those kind of rounds comfortably in 5 minutes and take my time and aim every time.
So,
if I were really quicker than that.
So the reloading with putting the new magazine in is just what, 3 seconds?
Okay, all you do is you just take your trigger finger, hit the button, the clip falls, or the mag, it's not a clip, the mag falls out, drops out, and you stick another one in. So if you're carrying 4 or 5 mags in your web gear, it's easy to just bang, 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 bang as fast as you can pull the trigger, and then drop the mag, and then put another mag in, and you're off and running again.
So
I've got the fastest record on with shotgun on the little practical weapons course that I set back in 1994, I think it was, and I did 18 rounds and a 12-gauge pump shotgun in 42 seconds on the fly, running through the course.
Wow.
So that's doing 6 rounds, speed reload, 6 rounds by hand, from a bottom-fed shotgun. So, if you're practicing with a mag, any kind of a 10-round or more mag, you can really get your time up.
So what you're saying is this was happening so fast, there was really no opportunity for anybody to jump from behind because he could have just turned around and shot them.
Well, I think the element of surprise too. I mean, I'm not going to say that there wasn't an opportunity, but you'd have had to been a pretty brave man to get up and get out of the line of fire and try and tackle this guy. Hit him from behind or whatever. And it sounds to me like he was pretty well at least self-trained and knew the territory that he was walking into to know when to strike. And the element of surprise is going to put everybody on the ground.
Well, and you look at the time he did this mass execution, Randy, too. I mean, he did it, the bar closes at 2 a.m., so he did it last call. There were a couple hundred people there, many of them drunk, obviously, so not thinking as quickly as they would. He comes in at closing, and the music is blaring, and like some of the people were saying, I mean, it took them a couple of minutes to actually figure out what was going on.
Yeah, he probably emptied a magazine before people realized what was happening. He probably got 30 rounds out there and people on the floor and, reloaded, just dropped his clip or his mag and put another one in before people even knew what was happening.
So
But you take that magazine out and pull the bolt back on an AR-15 and put a round in the chamber, you now have a period. So this narrative that they're running about, automatic weapons on the streets and anybody can get them, that's just a big load of hogwash. It's a media narrative. It's a Democrat Party maneuver to backdoor the Second Amendment and put limits on what type of a weapon you can purchase.
So Randy,
plus it's still cold ignorance, John, too.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's got to be a combination of ignorance and just a false narrative. It's like I was saying earlier, Randy, Homeland Security Director Jay Johnson coming out yesterday and saying this was a lone wolf, self-radicalized hate crime. I don't know what any of that means. All I know is a Islamic Muslim terrorist ISIS fighter just executed 50 people in a bar because they were gay. That's all I know. I don't know about lone wolves or anything else.
And he also came out and said that gun control is now a Homeland Security issue. So you can see where he's going with that, and he's obviously also completely ignorant to the Islamic threat doctrine that is stated by the Islamic terrorists themselves.
Mm-hmm.
He's obviously never read the Quran. He doesn't know anything about the Hadith. I mean, they've been telling us what they're going to do. They've been telling us who they are for 1,400 years and what their goals are.
Randy, it sounds like you've been around a while based on your background,
yes,
Navy
sir.
SEAL,
Yep.
and you've been following this stuff. Just without being an alarmist, what level of risk are we at? I mean, how many other people like him are there in America?
Well, I wouldn't know what the numbers are because I wouldn't have,
what do you think? Just your instinct.
Several thousand.
Wow.
I mean, I'd say that would be a moderate number. But if we used to have on the force I worked at, we had threat conditions: Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta. Alpha was pretty cool; everybody just kind of hanging out. Bravo was, be on your alert. Charlie was a TRECON Charlie was and I was the Charlie platoon leader. That was a platoon that would be deployed when we got to that threat level. Was an attack is imminent, and Delta was you are under fire. And I would say that we're at Charlie most of the time in this country now, nationwide. It's not will an attack happen? It's when and where is it going to happen?
What about if people were in there? Of course, I don't know this. I haven't looked it up, but I would assume that there was probably a no gun ban in this place. If some of the patrons in there had a concealed carry, would there have been any opportunity to stop this guy?
I could have ended it in 3 seconds.
3 seconds.
With my sidearm, I could have put 2 rounds in his chest in 3 seconds and 1 in the forehead on the 4th second. No problem.
So if you were there that night, goodness knows how many people you would have saved. I guess I'm just trying to figure out what the administration wants us to do. I mean, did they just want us to be defenseless and get gunned down? I mean, wouldn't you be safer in there if more people had a weapon?
Well, yes, and I think if my information is correct on Florida state law, the gun laws are pretty good in Florida. I mean, you can have a weapon and you can carry it around, but just like Virginia used to be, I don't believe in Florida you're allowed to have a weapon in a facility that only serves alcohol. Now, in Virginia, those laws changed during the McDonnell administration, and you can have a weapon in a bar, but the bar has to be able to be a place where they also serve sandwiches and food.
Right.
And
so if
you cannot consume alcohol if you're carrying that weapon.
Right. Well, that makes sense. Okay, so that makes sense. So
yes.
I mean, that was another reason that he chose this place, because he knew that there would be no one armed there, because they didn't serve food. Right. It was just a bar, so it would be like just, executing ducks in a barrel. I mean, it's sick. So this thing was planned out. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing that these ISIS fighters, they plan out when they can get people who are defenseless and unarmed. Right?
Yeah, and I think that our domestic security forces, what they do not do here is they do not set their Western way of thinking aside. Okay? We end up projecting our values onto them. And that's why you have all this excuse making for this Islamic nut job that told us who he was and what he was going to do, and then he did it, and everybody's saying, well, he really didn't mean that. He must be something other than what he said. Okay, but they don't set themselves, their Western way of thinking aside, and say, okay, if I were one of them, how would I do this? How would I execute this attack? The most stunning thing I think I heard, John, the other day on the news was some investigator saying, "Well, we had no one would have ever thought that there would be an attack on a gay nightclub." Huh? I mean, these people throw gays off the buildings and hang them in Iran. Of course they're going to attack a gay nightclub.
It's unbelievable. I got to take off, Randy. I'm out of time for this segment. Hey, thanks for calling in,
thanks
Randy.
for the time, John. I hope that helps you a little bit.
Hey, Randy, you were fantastic. Thank you so much. I got the best listeners on the face of the earth. Thank you, Randy. John Fredericks Radio Show. I'll be right back.